This was my favorite school lunch growing up, and I always crave it once it gets cold outside. It's old school chicken and noodles served over mashed potatoes. Now, normally I would add carrots with the onions at this stage, and I even had some carrots in my garden still. So I went outside and I picked my carrots, and I noticed that the sunset was looking really, really pretty. So I sat down in the middle of my field, put my carrots next to me. I was just vibing and enjoying watching the sunset and the dogs playing. And as I looked to my left, Hank, our 8-month-old puppy, came over, grabbed all 6 carrots, and proceeded to eat them all. So this recipe will not have any carrots in it. But anyways, I don't really like the texture of celery when it's chopped up, but I like the flavor of it. I can thank my dad for that because he is a psycho when it comes to anything celery, and I think it rubbed off on me a little bit. But I'm not as big of a baby as he is about it. I'll still eat it. I just don't like the texture. So I put the entire stock in just to get the flavor, and then I take it out once it's all cooked down. I used the carcass from the roast chicken that I made the other night to make my stock for this, and it cracks me up because anytime I deal with chicken, Clyde just comes running, and he'll just sit and beg until I pay the chicken tax, and then after that he still wants some. So he's usually my sous chef when I'm cooking. But anyways, I have my onions, I have celery, I have some fresh herbs that were left over from Thanksgiving cooking, and then I added all of that to the pot with some water, and then I put my chicken carcass in, as well as some salt and pepper, and then I let it simmer for a good, 45 minutes to an hour to get all of that flavor out of the carcass. I did end up adding a little bit of chicken bouillon to the stock just because I couldn't let it simmer as long as I wanted it to, and it needed just a little bit more flavor, so I added that, and then also a little bit of freeze-dried garlic powder. I only did a little bit of it because I've learned having it freeze-dried makes it so much stronger. But speaking of freeze-drying, we ended up freeze-drying the leftover mashed potatoes from Thanksgiving, and this was the first time that I have done these, so I decided to try it with the chicken and noodles, and it was actually pretty good. The texture wasn't my favorite because they were a little bit gluey. My husband loved them because he loves instant mashed potatoes, but I really like the texture of fresh mashed potatoes, but it's fine. I mean, they worked for this recipe. And since I was trying to make this a quicker dinner, I did not make my own noodles. I just did the frozen egg noodles that you can get from the grocery store, and honestly, these are really good. Like, there's no shame in using these. Plus, it's a lot less cleanup than making your own noodles, so these were the win for tonight. I let them cook until they were tender all the way through, and then I pulled out the chicken carcass that I had wrapped in the cheesecloth just so that it'd be easier to get it out of there. And then one of my favorite freeze-dried things to use is freeze-dried rotisserie chicken. This stuff rocks because you literally just add it to some hot liquid and boom, you're good to go. Now, because Hank decided to eat all of my carrots, I was trying to think of something to add just a little bit more flavor to this without adding more salt. So I remembered that we ended up freeze-drying the homemade gravy from Thanksgiving. And when I made the gravy, I ended up blending all of the veggies that I had cooked with the turkey. So I had like onion, celery, and also had carrots in there. So I knew I would somehow get that flavor in there. And after thinking about it, I had used cornstarch in the gravy to thicken it. So I was trying to kind of experiment to see if the gravy would thicken the chicken and noodles, and it worked like a charm. And it also added more flavor. And of course I had to use the giant ice cream scoop to scoop the mashed potatoes into the bowl because that's what the lunch ladies used to do. I literally bought this ice cream scoop just because I wanted to be able to scoop mashed potatoes like the lunch ladies. So while the recipe didn't exactly go as planned, it was still really, really good, and I will be making this again.